Hello and welcome to Wow Mom. This is Ellen Mongan, and today our guest is going to be Cynthia Brian, and she is she wrote some books called Be the Star You Are. So in my own right, I took upon myself to be who I was, who is me, with my fascinator. I call it my fascinator, and it's very fascinating. So my co-host is Jane Ann today, and our guest is out of California, and she's going to tell us all about herself after Jane Ann introduces her. So this is Ellen Mongan, the host of Wow Mom. So glad you joined us. And here's Jane Ann, my co-host from Dime a Dozen Mom. Here she is. Hey, Jane Ann.
Hey, Ellen. How are you? I'm so excited about our guest.
I am too, and good to see you up and around. You know, we all have our days and nights, and everything's kind of crazy here, Jane Ann. We are finally allowed out of the house. Are you all allowed out of the house?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Are they wearing masks in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. See, I told Pat May you don't have to wear a mask. We have to wear them a lot here, and we're trying to be safe. But I am praying for a quick end to this, so we can be who we are, which is, I'm a real social. I know you are too. So, thank you, Jan. Do you want to give an introduction, or do you want to tell about your weekend? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I sure do. Cynthia Brian, a New York best-selling author of several books, is a TV and radio personality, a newspaper columnist, a lifestyle coach, the executive director of the 501c3 charity, Be the Star You Are. When she is not writing, performing, lecturing, or coaching, you will find her in the garden. With her menagerie of adopted barnyard animals, Cynthia Bryan is one of a kind. She is a star lighting the way toward Jesus. She encourages everyone with this word, be the star you are. And she also just recently won an award for Garden Calm it's an international award. I guess she wrote about the fires in California. So welcome, Cynthia. We're so glad to have you.
Hey,
well,
Cynthia.
hello, Ellen. Hello, Damien. It's so great to be here. You are fascinating, Ellen. I love
Take it off
this.
soon.
Fascinator.
Squeezing my brains, Cynthia. Squeezing my brains.
No, I love it. I'm a hat lady. I wear hats all the time, and I really should have put one on, just for you.
I told Jan you're like my real sister. Jan is too.
I know.
No, we don't know each other. We feel like we've met each other all our life. We're twins separated at birth. So the hats are good. They help you think better. Then you take them off. So
That's
Cynthia,
right.
what have you been up to? It's been way too long.
Well, it's been way too long, but I want to ask you, how are you all? I mean, we're in a very crazy time, and I think that we just have to start bouncing as high as we can and being positive. But, I feel really, really blessed because California, as you know, we have a surge in the COVID-19, and it's frightening and all this, but I'm just being really safe. I'm wearing a mask if I go out, and I don't go out very much. Fortunately, I have my animals, and I have my garden, and I have so many projects that I'm working on. So I really love staying home. It's really wonderful. It's very nurturing to stay home. And so, no, I'm doing great. Tell me about you.
Go ahead, Jan. You go first. How you like it? She comes with children, but she's a very good mama.
Well, here in Georgia, we do wear masks when we go out, and but we're really everybody's kind of out and about. Like my children are started a basketball camp. I have like 5 that are going to be playing this year, so we're already.
Really? I mean, is the camp smaller, Jane Ann? I mean, is it just like regular basketball camp, or is it a smaller group of people?
It's a regular basketball camp. Well, it's not a huge group of people. We homeschool. So, but we also play in a division with schools, parochial. It's called GAPS. And anyway, so they play, and they're working on a camp. And then actually they're going to start conditioning in the end of August after this camp.
Wow.
So yeah, they're all doing the precautions, but it's really good because I've been listening to even President Trump, when he did his speech on the kids and how they need to be social again, and the schools, they need the schools. And I was really in agreement because, our kids are doing a camp, but it's been so good for them. They really look forward to it because just to get out and hang out with, the people they hadn't seen all summer.
Yeah, it's really it's hard for the kids, I think, more than anything. How about you, Ellen? I mean, you're the wow mom. You have,
I was
you
gonna
have
say,
more
look at
kids than
here, look at
anybody
here.
I
It
know,
came
and
out. Look at
grandkids.
finally. This is my new book, my Bible study, and
Yay!
Cynthia is actually
Okay.
Brian from California is the one that named my book because I didn't know what to call it, but she called me the Wow Mom, so I
You are
titled the book
the
that,
wow
and
mom.
so I thank you. And it's out in Amazon around, but Pat and I are really homebodies a lot, and so I'm more the break it loose person and get out of Dodge. So I don't like the whole staying home after the 3 months in a row, but we don't go a lot. But so we're gonna get ready to go on a trip soon, hopefully. And he's looking for.
Where?
So
Oh, that's
we
exciting.
haven't decided. It's like I feel like I need to have something like a change because I raised 8 children, so I stayed home. Well, not one I did not have to raise; he went to heaven. But I'm home a lot, so I want to be in a place where I don't want to just we hike a lot. We're not
Right.
power hikers. We're going wherever the air is clear and we don't have to wear the mask just for a little bit. So that's we're going. We're planning now. We're going to go to Georgia. All our kids are in Georgia, but we're in Vieira, Florida, and we're going to go out there and go on a boat with the kids. They can't find a boat, and it's like my 67th birthday, and I'm going like I'm getting out of here and doing something fun for me because
Oh,
not that it's not fun to do. The children.
but going on a boat, how
Well,
fun is that? That's going to be awesome.
we couldn't find one, so we're going to change.
You couldn't find
The
one.
plan's going to be maybe
You
Utah.
probably can't find one big enough for your clan, right?
That is what it is.
Y'all-
That's exactly
We need
what
a
it is.
pontoon boat.
So we were gonna rent a cruise. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just kidding.
have to rent a
Cynthia,
whole
we're gonna
cruise
go somewhere because I am all about I am like you are and Jana is too. We have lots of projects and we do lots of things at home, but then there's a time when you want to just do something different for a little bit, maybe a week.
Yeah.
We'll see. We want to ask you some questions though today. We really, really are interested. I have some things on the show notes I want you to tell the stories, but on the questions, what are you doing in the year of the books? Are you doing more books, or I mean, you could tell the
Well,
books
you
you
know
do.
what's so fascinating is when this first happened, my thought was, well, wonderful. I'm going to have all this time now because literally everything was canceled as
Sure.
everybody knows. So all my engagements were canceled, all my speaking engagements were canceled. My office building actually closed down, and so I had to move everything to home to work.
Sure.
And the crazy part about it is that it was pretty seamless, but everything went online. And
Yeah, that's
so
good.
like most people, I have been nonstop on all these Zoom interviews and Skype interviews. And my 2 radio shows that I do have just ramped up unbelievably. And
Sure.
then, of course, with all the kids, because I have the charity Be the Star You Are, all these people needed volunteer hours and service hours because their schools were shut down. And now they need community service, but they can't go out and do it. So I had to provide virtual things for them to do. And I feel like I'm in front of the computer all day long. So my original thought of writing my next book actually got put to the wayside, and I have not started on a next book, but I've been doing a ton of writing.
Sure.
So I'm writing for the newspaper, and I've got articles coming out weekly. And then with Be the Star You Are, I don't know, Ellen, if you get the newsletter, but we're putting out the newsletter every 2 weeks, and
Oh, I get it then.
just trying to.
I'm behind on emails. Cynthia, tell
Oh,
tell
I'm
the
just trying to
audience.
keep people, keep them positive,
I think it's
because
hard.
this is a time. This is really tough. 1/3 of the population, supposedly here in the U.S. right now, as you probably already know, have been diagnosed as being depressed, and clinically depressed. Because if you don't, I feel very, very blessed and lucky because I have a home and I have a garden
Right.
and I have some space to breathe. But if you're living in a big city and you're in a studio apartment and there's your family and you can't get outside. I have had clients that said they're sitting on their fire escape just so that they can feel like they're getting some air. So I can imagine how tough it is.
Sure.
So in these times,
the elderly
we have to
especially.
find the blessings in the small things. We
That's
have
right.
to really, really be positive. So this is what my goal has been, throughout these last, what is it, 7 months we're in now, 6, 7 months,
It just flew by.
is, yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm just really working to keep people upbeat and
That's right.
see the good in life, because throughout history, there's always been something that has been horrific, whether it was a world war or some other kind of disease, something going on. And so if you look back in history, you'll always say, oh gosh, it's the worst of times, it's the best of times. That's kind of
right.
like what
That's
Dickens says. So that is our responsibility as humans right now, is to find the good if we can, because there is good, but there is so much sorrow. And so we have to be really empathetic and understand that some people are really living in pain, and we have to help them if we can, in whatever way that we can. And fortunately, because I've written so many books, and especially the Be the Star You Are series, people have found a lot of solace in these books and stories.
That's right.
And so I'm getting lots and lots of emails, which I respond to every single one. I've had as many as 900 emails in a day now.
Wow.
So sometimes my husband says to me, well, how was your day? Well, I said, well, let's see, I started at 7, it's 9 p.m., and I'm still answering emails.
But you know what, Cynthia? The book, if people that don't know are watching this, her books are like chicken soup for the soul, in that they have a message that goes right to the heart. That's my next book too. It's to be I took all my writings and I'm going to put it towards people being able to read and then get something where they feel uplifted in it. So it's all different ways that the scripture speaks to us. People can relate to stories. That's what I want Cynthia to tell some of her stories, because they can relate to a story. But before we go there, Cynthia, can you tell a little bit what you do for the teens? I'm always so interested in that, because I actually was on her show with a young radio guy, and we had such a fun time. It was uplifting for me and him as well, because you teach them the skills they need to have to go forth and make a difference. So tell us a little about
thanks
it.
for asking about that, Ellen. That has been my heart project for years. I started off 30 some years ago, coaching kids for acting, because my background is television and film. And so I was always wanting to get kids into the film business in the right way, so they wouldn't get scammed and they wouldn't have any issues. They needed to have a mentor. They needed to have a guide on the side that they could count on, that they knew was going to protect them. And then that just evolved into the charity I founded in 1999, Be the Star You Are. And then in 2011, because I had my own radio show, which has been on the air, Star Style, Be the Star You Are, since '98, I was asked by the network, which is Voice America, if I would start a teen show, because there was such a call for teens. And they said, would you be willing to produce a show? And I thought, oh gosh, one more thing on my plate.
That's like Grace. I need Grace.
But then I approached some teens, and they were really excited. So I coached them to be reporters, and then I taught a couple of them to be hosts. We started with 5. I'm up to now 50 across the United States. So it's not just kids that are local or in California. These are reporters and hosts who live all different states in the U.S. And I have now coached them to be both reporters, if they want to stay reporters, and after 4 or 5 shows, if they're doing a really good job and they'd like to move up to hosting, they can do like what happened with you, Ellen, when they interviewed you, is they get to interview people from around the world. And we have guests from all around the world. Last week, the kids interviewed a rock star from Liverpool, England.
Fun for that.
And he had 2 new singles out, which was really awesome, and they were both really uplifting. And what's beautiful about this is that it gives the kids such confidence. So they are meeting people that they would never have the opportunity to meet. And it's not just celebrities, but they're meeting authors and artists and activists and Olympians and just people who are making a difference in the world. And one of my hosts interviewed one of the last Holocaust survivors.
Oh, wow.
And it was it was really, really a touching thing. And it moved her so much And several of these kids have gone on to have careers now in broadcasting. So it's really exciting. And what we've been doing during COVID, and this was a pivot, but I'm really proud of it, is because so many creative people are completely out of work, just like myself, having all of my speaking engagements canceled, all my book signings canceled. So authors, again, the same kind of people. Musicians, they can't do concerts anymore, right? Artists can't show their work. So we started inviting these creative people to come on the show so that they could promote their works. So I partnered with the Authors Guild and Screen Actors Guild. For example, this week on my show, I have the cast of the new movie Mighty Oak coming on, which is really exciting. And so every week there's somebody who's had their events canceled, and they're getting to be able to be supported and feel nurtured and feel like at least they're getting, their creativity out there through our show. And the teen show is called Express Yourself, and that's all about expressing yourself. So we're calling on the teen show, we call it Super Smart Sundays because it airs on Sundays, Express Yourself, on the Voice America Network, the Empowerment Channel. And then on my show, Star Style, we're doing Wednesdays with writers and performers. And we've been doing this as a gift to the universe during the pandemic to introduce the people to all these incredible people who are doing great things, and they have no way to get the word out.
And I was going to go back to what you said earlier, Jan. Don't you think that's the way that God's bringing a blessing during this? I call it a staycation, just to make it not like, we're stuck at home. But that's the way He's been blessing. And you and I were already in the media of I was trying to do podcasts. You're already doing it, and it kind of makes great fruit for you, and you're blessing others. What do you think, Jan?
Yes, I love it. And I went through your website, and I was like, wow, it kept going on and on. But I really liked the fact that your creed, where it says that, I guess this is for your be the star you are, read, succeed.
To be a reader, you must be a reader.
That's great. So to promote, to promote reading and literacy, that's amazing, because you really do, because that's the key in communicating. And if they're going to be speakers or announcers or journalists, you have to communicate.
Yes,
I really like that.
What we say now, in addition to the read, lead, succeed, is we are saying communicate, collaborate, and innovate.
Ooh, I like that.
Because really the only way that we can work together as human beings is we have to collaborate. No man, no woman is an island. We never get there by ourselves. We all get there together. And as so many have said during this pandemic, is we're in this together, although we're apart. So what can we do to collaborate and to innovate new ideas? So that's going to be the good thing that's going to come out of this. I mean, my hope is that we're going to wake up and realize that climate change is real, that the oceans are dying, that we have to take care of each other. Because, think about it. I don't know how it was in your states, but in California, when we were on complete lockdown, now in where I live, we're not on absolute lockdown now. People can go to certain jobs, but all the schools are closed. Most of the businesses are closed. All the restaurants are closed.
Wow.
So California, I don't want to speak for all of California because we're huge, but in our area, it's still really fairly locked down. Like, for example, there are no basketball camps going on.
They're stars. They're stars.
Like for the kids, some of the kids are doing some swimming, but it's only 3 kids at a time. So it's I think every state and probably every district or maybe even every city is different. But what we have really experienced here is there's clear skies. There's very few airplanes in the sky. There's no cars. The birds are out. We're actually having a big problem with coyotes that are kind of roaming right in downtown.
Hungry.
The animals are back.
I keep crossing you off by mistake. I'm so sorry. I was going to say, Cynthia, I think that what I was thinking of the whole time you were saying about what you've learned and what you've shared to others is like the scripture we had this week was the mustard seed, like this little seed. You just took what you knew and you took what you had and you put it together, and then you built on that to have others learn from it. And my favorite part is that these children who are teens, and then of course on your other show as well, they're going to hear the story of someone they wouldn't have known. And the story is what makes us. I just wrote an article for, I think it was Catholic Mom this week, and it's about your story. It's about Tuesday. It's about, man, everyone has a story. That story in their life, it makes them who they are. You know some of my stories, and we want to hear some of yours, Cynthia, and I know some of Jane Ann's, because why are you like you are? Why is she so confident? Because she took what she had, that little seed, and she put it in the ground, and she planted, and then she let others bear fruit from what she learned. So thank you for that example, and I would love to hear about how these other children, like say in Georgia or Florida, can be a part of your teen ministry. And we'll go on to something else.
Oh, yes, that would be fabulous. It doesn't matter where you are in the United States, as long as you can speak English, because our show is in English, although if you speak other languages, that's fantastic too. And we honor, everyone. It doesn't matter what ethnicity or culture or anything. Everybody is welcome here, but we do have to speak in English. So just contact us. Go to bethestarur.org. or very quickly btsya.org. Those are just the initials. And there's a contact sheet, and you can just send an email to me. And I promise I get back. If I don't get back to somebody within 48 hours, it means it went to spam, or I didn't see it, or some things get lost in cyberspace. So email me again, but I do respond to everything. So we have a questionnaire that you fill out. What we're looking for as far as volunteers is we want people who are dedicated. We want people who care about other people, who really want to make a difference in the world. So what Be the Star You Are is about is empowering not only other people, but the volunteers as well. So we want people who care, share, be fair. That's what we're looking for. We do have several people that contact me, and all they're looking for is credits. That's not what we want. We don't care. I mean, if you're doing the work, we're going to give you the credits, but that's not the kind of person we're looking for.
That's right.
We want people who are walking the talk, have integrity, living their blessings, living their graces, living their gifts, and feel that they've been blessed and they want to share with others. And being blessed has nothing to do with money. Being blessed has everything to do with what's in your soul. And Ellen, what you were just saying about stories, that's absolutely so important. People will not remember when you tell them something. You give them a list, but when you tell a story, people remember stories.
Right.
And every person has a story. And that's why I'm always saying to people, there's a book inside you. Everybody has a book. You may not think your story is important, but it could inspire somebody else, because what you've been through has everything to do with what other people might be going through. And we don't know what people are, what boots they're walking in. That's right. So be
especially
willing
the elderly.
to
I want especially the elderly. Those who are older than me.
You know what? Blessed people. I mean, we all want to. That's the great thing is, don't we want to have birthdays?
That's right. That's why I'm upset my birthday. So, Cynthia, I was thinking, we got Jan pop on this one too, but don't you think that so many times in life, and I can attest this, I'm not this person. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've always stopped and paused if someone spoke to me, and never try to be, even with my children, never be too busy to just pass on by, like, oh, I'm in a hurry. And some people don't know that there may be someone they meet today, and maybe they haven't talked to a person all month because they've been locked in the house in California or Georgia or Florida or Nebraska. And that your smile, or if you have the mask off, or your joy can make them come alive again. I sadden so much that people are always so busy to not take the time. Now, there are times when you have a doctor's appointment or a dentist and you can't, but Cynthia's one that takes the time.
You can always, I think pausing is very important. The beauty of music are the pauses between the notes. And all of us have that ability to just take that second, because it could be just that second, as you said so eloquently, Ellen, that
With my
we give hope to someone else.
Right. Oh,
now, it is hard when you have a mask on. I know I go to the post office, I'm wearing glasses, I wear a hat, I've got my mask on. And it's so funny because, I walk in and I think, oh, nobody knows who I am. And the postman goes, Cynthia, hello. It's like, how do you know it's me? Well, I guess I'm there so often. But I know that my husband said he's been in the grocery store and somebody will say hello to him, and unless he doesn't recognize the voice, you can't tell who anybody is.
That's right.
Because of the mask. But we can still stop and say hello to people. I think it's I know it's even actually more important now. We can't hug anymore. You can do the virtual hugs.
I'm not big on that.
What I like to do now is sort of the bow.
Okay.
Like
I just wave
I was in India this past year, and I was so impressed. Every time somebody would meet you, they would say namaste, and they would bow. And I thought, well, that was lovely. And you can stay 6 feet apart, and you can still honor that person.
Honor is everything. Jana, what do you think about teaching the children to pause, or being a pauser yourself, and the word pause?
I think it's very important. I think I'm just listening to you both, and I'm thinking, I have to do the same thing. And I've even been thinking to myself, because I can be like doing, which is not good. I can multitask, which is not to the best, I know. But, if I'm cooking dinner or and a child comes in and wants, and then I have a tendency not to look straight at them. Instead, I can just let me finish doing what I'm doing, and because I'm,
Because you're busy. You have things you're having. But what's interesting is, I know there's all these studies. For a long time, everybody was supposed to multitask, and then now we're supposed to single task.
Yeah.
But women in general are very good at multitasking.
I
have this gut feeling that just because we're mothers, wow moms, is that we have to learn how to multitask. And it's why we have 2 arms normally, is you have a kid on each side, and at the same time you're talking to somebody else and you're stomping the grapes with your feet,
So save the wine for later.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm like, I can, if I have a child that's sick, and then I also have to provide dinner for everyone, and laundry has to get done, and so I do find myself going into a room and going, okay, what did I come in here for?
No, I know. I'll tell you, I know you both know this, but one of the things that has helped me so much over the past years, and it's doing a gratitude meditation every day. I do it in the morning, and and it's just like praying, but at the same time, there's such a solace that comes to me, and there's such a grounding and a pause. And now my family just knows I just need 20 minutes, I just get up earlier, about 20 minutes, I go outside, whether it's raining or not, I go outside in my garden.
I like outside.
And I literally am saying, thank you, God. I am so grateful just to be alive and to be experiencing what I'm experiencing, and give me the strength and the grace to get through today and to make it all work and to help other people. And it's so weird how great I feel after that. And if I don't do it, like some people have to exercise every day. If I don't do that meditation, I feel kind of out of whack. How about you guys? What do you do? What do you do for self-care? That's like my self-care.
Jane, tell what you do about thankfulness. You're trying to market for the Thankfulness Journal that you're doing. I think it's about the same.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, a gratefulness journal for about a year now. And
with the children too.
Also, I want to put one out for teens, and my daughter and I've been kind of working on that. And then and I've started my children on that as well. Our children, gratitude, because it really does.
It
really does. Just for the little things, I just write down 5 things every day that I'm grateful for. And I'm the same way. I start my day doing that, and you do feel out of whack if you do not do that. It really is so important.
It's important, and I really am honoring you that you're doing a gratitude journal and that you want to promote that, because I have been teaching my students for years and years, if you do one journal, it should be a gratitude journal.
Yes.
I think that's
And
right.
because, and I go, well, okay, well, I don't have this and I don't have that. And I go, but what do you have?
That's right.
You have a pillow.
That's right.
You have a pillow to sleep on.
That's right.
Did you have food today? That's gratitude. Do you have a roof over your head? My goodness, so many people do not have that.
Right.
So it's learning to see the small things. I always say, let's see the invisible to create the impossible.
That's right.
And
That's good.
if we can just acknowledge what we have, we realize how abundant we are.
Mhm.
And just knowing that abundance, it's unbelievable, because really, how many pairs of shoes do you really need? Do we really need the, now, Ellen, maybe you.
I have a lot of shoes.
Fashionista.
That's the
You're
idea.
a
Few
fashionista.
hats.
Maybe we should excuse you.
Wait, we had this one gal on,
but
Cynthia
you know
would like this.
what I mean is that,
sorry.
especially when you're working with kids,
Oh.
and I work with a lot of young kids and teenagers, many who are from some disadvantaged homes where maybe they don't have what other people have, and they want things, but they still have so much because they have love in their family, and so that's the key. Is I think that we have to get away from all of the things.
That's right.
And I've said this to you before, Ellen, we have to give our kids roots and wings.
I love that.
It's not about things.
Yes, I like that. I
That's
like
good.
that.
Let's give them wings.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Right.
the book, Cynthia? I know you probably read it to your children. I'm sure Jan has too, The Giving Tree. Do you remember
Yes.
the giving? Okay, my friend Ann and I were talking about that today. And people just, when they first, they first want everything, especially young people, kids, say, what's your list from Santa? It's like a whole thing. I want this, I want that. And the older you get, I find, Cynthia, I'm sure you and Jan's not as old as me, as you either, but I find that you start wanting to, instead of saying, God, give me this, and please, Lord, I want that, you say, I just want to be thankful for what I have. And there are times you need stuff. We need more than loneliness. I'm saying? I'm alone here, Cynthia, just, and my kids are all moving back to Georgia slowly. I just want you to know there may be another address change for us. But
I know. I was, that's the
time.
other question. I mean, I'm not sure what you're doing in Florida when your whole family's back in Georgia.
That's what I want you to say.
Why did you move?
I didn't put that line on the show notes, but my children just started moving back, and so it's like, how people say there's no place like home, and then all of a sudden, one by one, they all come home. Well, we're going to be the last ones to arrive home. So loneliness is probably my killer in my whole life of being like, I'm so grateful for so much we have, but I don't do loneliness well. I'm a people person. With the mask and the strangers, I'm just praising the Lord through the whole thing and waiting on the Lord. But it's true that you can be to a point where you're so overwhelmed with gratefulness that all you could do is pray for others and lead others to Christ, like Jan leads the little children, right, Jan? And you lead the others. And so now I want to go back to a different subject. My favorite subject is my mom's here. Mom's visiting.
Oh, I just love it.
And you're here on air, and tomorrow she's doing her show because it was my electronic failure. But we want to hear your story about your mom, because we know you love moms, and your mom went to be with Jesus, who is a wonderful place to go. But so tell about your story when your mom got to be
yeah, well,
a movie star.
I'm sure being in heaven is just fabulous, but it's very hard for us earthlings here when we lose somebody, because even though you can still talk to them, kind of, I can't hold her and laugh and all of that. But no, my mom was a total spitfire.
Okay, mine
and when she was, at 87 years old, she was surfing behind a boat, wake surfing.
That's awesome.
87, wake surfing. And then my son-in-law was on Wheel of Fortune, and he got chosen to be on Wheel of Fortune, and he was allowed to invite 4 people. Well, my mom had watched Wheel of Fortune for her whole 30 years, for the whole 30 years that it had been on, and you could not call her. And again, we're in California, and in California, it's on from 7 to 7:30. And if you happen to telephone her, she would answer the phone and say, "Can't talk now. Wheel of Fortune's on. Call me back at 7:30." So anyway, when he was allowed to bring 4 people, he said he had to bring, we call her Nani. That's an Italian, a pet name for grandmother. Everybody called her Nani. So he goes, we have to bring Nani, and he brought my daughter, who's his wife, and he goes, he wanted to bring me, and he wanted to bring his mom.
Oh.
So we go down to the studio, and the way that show works is you'll only get to meet Pat Sajak and Vanna White if you are the winner. Well, of course, we didn't know that. Now, what I didn't realize, because I had never watched the show, is that although my mom had watched the show every single day for 30 years, she had no idea how it worked. She was only watching Vanna and Pat. She just thought they were great. And she would always say to me, so Cynthia, how come you can't be like Vanna? How come you can't pull numbers?
That's right, there you go. You have cute clothes.
Right. So bottom line is, we're down there in the studio. Our son-in-law's on the show. I don't know how it works. The first round, he goes bankrupt, and my mom is going, oh my gosh, it's over, it's over. And the whole time the producers are saying, shh, shh. They're trying to keep her quiet. And finally, he actually wins.
Wow.
So that means that the 4 of us, we get to go and stand on the side in case he wins the big money. And if he does, we all get to run out. So when he won, I just said to the producer, if there's any way that I would be able to just take a picture of my mom and Pat, I mean, she's been watching it for 30 years. It would just be great. So next thing I know is my son-in-law, he wins. He wins the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
It was just unbelievable. I mean, talk about a gift from God. Right. He got like 3 letters, and he was able to say a sentence. So he wins, which means that we all have to go running out there, and we're all we're clapping and everything. And we see Pat coming, and Pat comes over to me, and he goes, Cynthia, how would your mom like to play Vanna? Wow. I said, play Vanna? She thinks she is Vanna. So she's 87 years old. So there's this fabulous picture of us, and we're all clapping for our son-in-law. And my mom sees Pat walking towards her, and all of a sudden she goes, oh, as if she's seeing the angel. I mean, she's literally going, oh. And Pat comes over. He says, would you like to play Vanna? And she was like, of course. So the end of the show, instead, it was the first time it happened in all the years they've been doing the show. The very end of the show, normally Vanna and Pat are there, and they have a little chatter, and then he says to Vanna, wave bye-bye, and she says bye-bye. So this time, it's my mom and Pat are at the end of the show. And that's Pat awesome. Says to my mom, he goes, so Vanna, what'd you think of the show? And my mom, without skipping a beat, says, oh, I loved the grandmother.
Look for herself.
Then she takes a bow, and Pat says, well, don't ham it up too much, Vanna. He goes, just wave bye-bye. And she goes, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. And it was like she'd been practicing her bye-bye for years. It was perfect. So it was a wonderful, wonderful moment. And what was also very special about it, of course, we got pictures, and so those were great for her. But only a couple of months later, she died, and which was so sad. She was working in her garden in 105-degree weather. She got dehydrated. And anyway, it was very sad. But when she was still alive, she would always say to me, "I'm kind of the eulogist. No, I'm not kind of. I am the eulogist in the family.
That's good.
Anybody who has ever died in our family, I always give the eulogy. I plan all the funeral, everything.
Because you have the heart."
Well, the joke was I should be a professional eulogist because I care about people, but it was like, wow, that was crazy. So anyway, when my dad had died, I gave the eulogy, and my mom was always saying, when I die, you have to do as good a job as you did for Papa. You have to, you have to give me And I go, Mom, please, let's talk about it. She goes, no, I'm serious. You have to do it. And so after this thing with Pat, I said, Mom, when you die, I know, because I always put together a video
Good. Okay.
a video with music and the whole thing. I go, I know what the ending scene's going to be. So after my mom died, I did give her eulogy and I put together the video. And the final scene of the video is her waving bye-bye. And what she actually said on the show, she says, bye-bye, bye-bye. And then she points out and she goes, I love you all. And she said that to the audience. I love you all. And so I was able to cut the film, and that was the end of her video. So I know she was up there in heaven going, yes, you did it. I really feel a fortune for that moment. You know,
said like this, mine was better than yours, honey. On your dad. Jan, what do you think about Mom?
Yeah. So anyway, she was really fun, and you still feel like she's here with you. So you're so fortunate that your mom at 94 is celebrating.
She's hilarious.
How about you, Jane? Is your mom around?
Yes, she is. My mom and my dad. And my dad is 78, and he still works every day and owns his own business. And so I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
Well, I think that working really helps. I think that so many people say I'm going to retire and then but what happens when you retire? I mean, if you are doing work you love, you're living your passion. You're living your destiny. You're living your gifts. You're living what you were put on this earth to do. It's a God-given gift. So why would you want to retire from doing what you love?
That's what he's always said. He loves what he does.
Yeah.
So that's so. I'm sorry, we have to end this show soon, but I think that's a great thing to end on, Cynthia. If you were to tell the audience out there and say, the teen, this generation, that's a good word for them, and to how they find that passion or that desire, how do they find what they're to do to make a difference in this world?
It's so important that we find our passion because doing what you love is critical. I am always advocating for people, go towards your strengths. Whatever you're good at, you're going to enjoy doing, and then you'll be great at it. So whether you are a ditch digger, a farmer, an artist, an entrepreneur, an engineer, it doesn't matter. We're all here and we're all equal but different. We're all unique. That's what the meaning of be the star you are is. So be the star you are. Go for your strengths. Go for what you love. Do what you love. And in that way, you will find your passion. The possibilities will open and you'll live your potential. And then you have lived the gifts that God has given you. And you will be blessed and you'll be able to bless others. So be the star you are. That's my main message.
I love that, Jen. We're going to go over the last words in a minute, but I do want to ask, because I'm such not a gardener. I mean, I usually have nails, but I always go like, I'm not a gardener at all. So how did you get started on your passion of gardening? Because that's such a contemplative thing to do. It goes along with the thankfulness. It goes along with the peace with each day and being outside and enjoying what God has created.
Well, it's also kind of just an analogy for life, right? We plant the seed, like you were talking about the mustard seed. We plant the seed, we water it, we prune it, we take care of it, it blossoms. It's the circle of life. So gardening is crucial. I grew up on a farm, as you know, Ellen. My hands have been in the dirt always. I've always raised animals. So that was... we were poor. We were poor farmers. I worked as a farm laborer my whole life to make money to put myself through college. So that's where I learned. I learned literally from the ground up, and I'm still learning. And that's the wonderful thing about being a nature lover and a gardener is that you never know everything. And failure is fertilizer. That's the best thing. Just know you're going to fail a lot. And if you're not failing, you're never going to succeed. So when that plant dies or when a project dies or when a relationship dies, know that something else is going to grow. You just have to plant that seed. I love that. Because the only reason I'm asking you is because my kids have the idea that we live on the land, right, Cynthia? This is new news this week in the Mongan family. We all buy a plot of land in Georgia, and we all live in the same area, 30 acres all together. I keep thinking this.
green acres. It's just what I mean. It's what I mean. Jane, what about you? I mean, it's such a good analogy. It's such a good thing. Are you at all good with? You were good with gardening as well, right?
Right. I'm like her. It's we had a garden this year, and now the heat's just kind of taken over and killed some things, but I do have a lot of produce, and I was just out there yesterday, and I was like, I just need to be grateful for the produce I do have, and some things were dying. But you're so right, because I've gardened so many times. I've gotten so frustrated, and I'm like, I just want to quit. Should I just quit? I can't get it,
No.
But that's what I was saying. It's so good. It really is true, because if you just keep, next year you learn to do it a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. But I do have a question.
Throw it on the compost pile. Throw it on the compost pile. Grow a new garden.
Oh, I do have a compost pile, and we have 20 chickens. So I've
got my chickens. I love my chickens. My chickens I raised chickens since the time I was 8, and I still raise chickens, because if it wasn't for selling the eggs from 8 to 18 and working in the fields, I would not have a college education. So I am so grateful to my girls.
I love chickens. And then the next thing I really have we have rabbits, and that right there is the best manure for everything.
They're so good, and they're so quiet, and they're so cuddly,
and they're so easy to take care of. Right. But I do have a question right quick, because I do have a lot of teens, and now I have girls that are teens. So when you become involved in your teen program, so what do they do? I mean, that's the only one part I didn't understand when I was reading through your website.
Well, there's lots of different opportunities. So one of the biggest virtual opportunities that kids literally across the world, I have kids in many, many countries that are doing this, is they become a Star Teen book reviewer. And it's really wonderful, because that feeds into literacy, the read, lead, succeed. And they get 3 hours of community service credit for every book that they read and write. We give them a guideline, and they get published. So we publish the book reviews not only on our site at btsya.org. You can go and see, we have a couple thousand book reviews, but we work with we have a partner, the Reading Tub, and publishers. And after they send the reviews to us, I take those reviews and I send them on to our partners, who then publish them as well. And they're submitted for teachers, librarians, parents, students, and it's been very exciting lately. I've been getting a lot of teens that have been writing me asking how they could become part of the book review team, because they have used the service to find books that they love. So it's reviewing books for young people, giving their honest opinion, and they do not have to like the book. They need to be very honest about, was it age appropriate, and what other books would they recommend that are similar. So that's one opportunity, and that's a really, really, I think that's a powerful one that helps the young people in many ways. The second opportunity that the kids really love, although there is a fee, just a one-time training fee, that's a donation to Be the Star You Are charity that's involved, and that is to become a radio reporter on Express Yourself. And that's for people who really want to learn to communicate, who are speakers. A lot of them are in Model UN. A lot of them are in debate team. Some of them want to be in theater, or they're really interested in journalism and broadcasting. And those kids I work one-on-one with, and I really work hard with them. I write their college recommendations and all of that, because we work together all the time, producing and planning these radio shows. So that's another. It's a really powerful opportunity. But then we have a lot of other things. They could do researching. They could start a club at their school, but right now there's the pandemic, so a lot of schools are closed. So they could start a club, Be the Star You Are, so that they're getting other kids involved in literacy. Or we do disaster relief. So we have Operation Disaster Relief, which is part of what we're doing on the radio show right now for the pandemic. But there's a lot of different things. But the way to find out is you can shoot me an email, Cynthia if you'd like to do that, Cynthia at bethestaryouare.org. That's one of my emails. You can also just use my name, Cynthia at cynthiabryan.com. And then I can send a questionnaire. You have to fill out the questionnaire. And then we look it over. We get back to you right away and say, yes, you'd be great. Or maybe we suggest a different opportunity than what you were looking at. We're doing some other writing opportunities right now as well. So there's a lot of different things that the kids can do. And we're right now, these are virtual ones I'm talking about.
Right,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, because unfortunately we can't do things that involve getting together with people, which we do have those in regular times.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Jan, last words, and then we're going to close it off, and we want you to come back on sometime, Cynthia.
Well, thank you.
Last words, Jan?
Oh, you want me to have last words?
No, first Jan, because
I'll
I'll put it on the spot. All right, last words. No, because we've been on an hour.
My last word.
I enjoyed it. We can sit here all day, for real. Let's not close the show.
All right. First I want to say I never have any last words.
I like that. That's good.
Because I really feel that we need to engage in an ongoing conversation.
That's right.
We need to continue collaborating and being together and caring for one another. And so first of all, I want to thank you, Jane Ann, and I want to thank you, Ellen, for inviting me on Wow Mom. You guys are both Wow Moms. And there's nothing more important in life than being a Wow Mom. I have to say that. And for anyone who's listening and kids out there, just remember that you have everything you need to be the writer, producer, and star of your own life. You are unique. You are yourself. You are an individual that shines. So embrace that, know that, don't let anybody discourage you. And for every no, you're just closer to a yes. So say yes to life. And when you need help, ask for it, because that's a sign of strength. And finally, just be the star you are. And thank you so much.
Thank you. How can they reach you?
Oh, you can reach me. Check out my website, cynthiabryan.com. That's Brian. So Cynthia, Cynthia Brian. And the easiest website is probably just the initials, btsya.org. The name of the organization is Be the Star You Are.
Thank you. And here's Jan.
And you can Google me. I'm kind of you can find me.
Jan, what do you
Good
think?
old Google.
Last word, Jane Ann.
Yeah, you can reach me at dimeadozenmom.com.
So do you want to say the audience? What do you want to say to the audience if they're watching the show?
There you are. I've really enjoyed this. I've learned a lot, and I hope that if there's any teens listening to this, that they'll connect with you. I have teens come in my household right now, and so we might send you an email for the questionnaire.
Yes, definitely.
I'm always looking for new opportunities, because we do homeschool, so opportunities to practice getting out there with the speech, communication, and I'm really all about that.
Well, that's wonderful. Just keep growing. Whoever you are out there, keep growing. That's the key. Just grow. Every day, it's an opportunity to learn something new.
Here's my last word. Do y'all see this book? It's a great, during this time of staycation, when you have your little blankie and you're in your bed and you want to read some good material that's going to make you have sweet dreams and dream about being and making a difference and being who you are. Get your copy, Be the Star You Are. She has many different, there's more than one of the copies. And I want to say this, those who are listening, a great man just recently passed away, and it was Regis Philbin. He was a person I would watch on TV, and every day I'd be uplifted. What was his key to being a successful person in this world? He made a difference by being Regis. He was only Regis. He didn't look at someone else and say, wish he had their hair or their whatever. He just was Regis. He was himself. No one could fill his shoes because they were bought just for him. So today, if you're listening, there's a thing we use on the show a lot where you're born and then ... and then you die. Between the dashes or the pause of life, please make a difference. Use your gifts. Listen and learn, and then go forth and teach. be who you are, and do what you do best. Like Cynthia said, your gifts will tell you a clue in as to what you're supposed to be called to do. Be passionate about it. Read the book of Ecclesiasticus. It answers the same question. What do I do? You have to work. Pick something you like. And then when you're working, you can live forever, because look at her mom worked hard, and the dads that are working at 79, they're doing something. So do something. Wake up each day, write your Thankfulness Journal, and then be yourself and be the best you can be. And I just want to say thank you, Cynthia, again. Last show of your face. Thank you so much. Call us anytime, beyond anytime. And Jane Ann, we love you always. Thank you for your example, all y'all. And this is Wow Mom, Ellen Mongan. And my next book is called The Pause, just so you know, Cynthia. It's not in the press, going out soon.
You're kidding.
It is called The Pause. That's why I put it in. Pause. It's called The Pause. It's called Take 5, The Pause. So I just want you to know that we will see you soon. And I want to say thank you for joining us today. Y'all come back. Tell a friend. We're on YouTube. Until next time, bye, Cynthia. Bye, Jane Ann. If I could close this thing off and it's taped, we did good, Jane Ann, if it's taped. Thank you so much.
Spread your wings and fly.
Thank you. We all wave. We all wave like the Vanna. Let's all do the Vanna wave.
That's it. Let's do our Vanna